Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Welcome back to the Black Hour. If you've ever walked the halls of Grand Old Hotel, you know there's something about those places. The chandeliers, the long carpeted hallways, the echoes of footsteps when no one is there. They hold secrets, and sometimes those secrets never check out. Tonight, we're traveling back to the late 1800s to a hotel so beautiful it was called the Queen of the Pacific. But behind its beauty lies one of the most enduring mysteries in American ghost lore. This is the story of Kate Morgan, the young woman who checked into the Hotel del Coronado in 1892 and never checked out. It was Thanksgiving week, November 1892, when a slender, well-dressed young woman stepped off the train in San Diego. She carried only a small black satchel and looked exhausted. Her name, she told the clerk at the Hotel del Coronado, was Lottie A. Bernard. She claimed she was waiting for her brother, a doctor, to join her. But that wasn't true. Her real name was Kate Morgan, a 24-year-old domestic servant from Iowa. And she was alone. Guests and staff noticed her right away. She had a certain elegance, but also a sadness in her eyes. A bellboy later described her as pretty, but ill, as if she carried some hidden suffering. For 2 days, she wandered the hotel's massive Victorian hallways, writing letters, staring out at the Pacific Ocean, and asking repeatedly at the front desk if anyone had inquired for her. But no one ever did. Behind the scenes, Kate's life was unraveling. She had been married young to a gambler, Tom Morgan, who often disappeared for days. Rumors swirled that she had met another man, maybe a lover, maybe just a traveling companion. Some say she was pregnant. Others claim she was running from an abusive relationship. What we know for sure is that she arrived in Coronado deeply troubled and utterly alone. On the evening of November 28th, Kate was seen walking along the beach in the cool night air. Witnesses recalled her standing near the shoreline, staring out at the dark waves for a long time. She seemed distracted, as if something terrible weighed on her mind. The next morning, November 29th, 1892, hotel staff found her body on the exterior staircase that led down to the beach. She had been shot once in the head. The pistol was lying nearby. The coroner ruled it a suicide, but things didn't quite add up. For one, witnesses insisted Kate had never purchased a gun, and the bullet found in her head didn't fully match the weapon. Rumors immediately spread. Was it suicide or murder? Some believed a man she was traveling with had killed her and escaped. Others thought her gambler husband tracked her down. The press ate it up, calling her the beautiful stranger. Newspapers across the country ran the story. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened in those final hours. Kate Morgan was buried in a simple grave at nearby Mount Hope Cemetery, under a marker that read only. Kate Morgan died November 29th, 1892. Now, here's where her story takes a chilling turn. Because according to staff and guests at the Hotel del Coronado, Kate Morgan never truly left. For more than a century, visitors in room 3327, the very room Kate stayed in, have reported strange phenomena. Cold breezes sweep across the bed at night. Lights flicker. Faucets turn on and off by themselves. Housekeepers have refused to work alone in that room after witnessing objects move on their own. One maid claimed she felt a woman brush past her, even though the room was empty. And it isn't just room 3327. Guests walking the hotel's long hallways have described seeing a woman in black Victorian dress, only for her to vanish as they approach. In one of the most famous encounters, a hotel operator in the 1980s received repeated phone calls from room 3327. But when security checked, the room was empty and had been for days. The reports continue even in recent years. Paranormal investigators have captured strange EVP recordings and unexplained cold spots, and countless tourists swear they feel her presence. Some say Kate is still waiting for the man who never came, or for the truth of her death to be uncovered. And that is the story of Kate Morgan and the haunting of the Hotel del Coronado, a young woman who checked in with secrets, and whose spirit may still walk the grand hallways of America's most famous Seaside hotel. If you ever visit San Diego and step inside the Del, remember, the beauty of the place is undeniable, but somewhere within its walls, a lonely ghost might still be wandering. Tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're checking into a place that has been called America's most haunted hotel. A building with more than a century of tragedy, secrets, and spirits that refuse to leave. This is the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. This is the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. The Crescent Hotel, high in the Ozark Mountains, surrounded by dense forests and winding roads, stand a structure that looks both majestic and unsettling. The Crescent Hotel. Its limestone walls glow white in the sun, but when night falls, those same stones seem to hold a darker memory. The story begins in 1886. Eureka Springs was booming then. People believed its mineral waters could heal almost anything. Wealthy travelers poured into the town, and to house them, developers built the Crescent Hotel, the grandest luxury resort of its time. It was supposed to be a place of joy. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, sweeping staircases, a ballroom filled with laughter and music. But even during construction, whispers began. A young Irish stonemason reportedly fell to his death from a roof. His body was buried near the site, and workers swore the building was cursed before it even opened. For a few years, the Crescent thrived. But as trends shifted, tourists stopped coming. By the early 1900s, the hotel...
Experience the passion of Tchaikovsky and Shostakovich with the San Francisco Symphony, October 24th through 26th. Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto has become one of the most beloved works in the repertoire, radiant and unforgettably alive. Shostakovich's Symphony No. 8 confronts us with raw power and haunting beauty. Together, these works form a concert of passion, struggle, and triumph. David Afcom conducts Tchaikovsky and Shostakovich with the San Francisco Symphony, October 24th to 26th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
Sat abandoned, its elegant halls echoing with silence. Locals began to fear it, dark windows staring out over the hills like empty eyes. Then came the 1930s. A man named Norman Baker purchased the property. He called himself a doctor, but he wasn't. In fact, Baker was nothing more than a con man. Baker promised desperate patients he could cure cancer without surgery. People traveled from across America, selling everything they owned, clinging to hope. What they found instead was horror. The Crescent became a hospital of death. Baker's treatments were nothing but painful injections of colored liquids, worthless and deadly. Patients screamed through the nights, their cries echoing down the halls. Many never left. Their bodies were hidden away, some in the basement morgue, others in makeshift graves on the property. Today, guests and staff swear they can still hear them. Disembodied moans, footsteps pacing when no one's there, doors opening by themselves, And then there's the apparition most visitors report, a man in old-fashioned work clothes carrying tools. He's often seen in the area where the young stonemason fell in 1886. Locals say he's never left the place he died. But perhaps the most chilling spirit of all is the nurse. Many nights, guests on the third floor claim to see a woman in a crisp white uniform, pushing an old hospital cart. She walks silently down the hallway and then vanishes through a wall. Even paranormal investigators have confirmed the Crescent's reputation. In 2019, a construction crew uncovered jars buried in the ground, filled with preserved human tissue. Remnants of Baker's so-called medical experiments. Proof that the stories weren't just rumors. They were real. The Crescent Hotel still operates today. People pay to sleep there, knowing they might wake up to cold hands on their sheets or whispers in their ears. Guests check in for the thrill, but many wonder if the spirits, trapped in stone and shadow, will ever check out. And that is the story of the Crescent Hotel, a place that proves horror doesn't always live in fiction. It hides in history. Story. Third, we're checking into one of America's oldest and most haunted hotels, the Omni Parker House in Boston, a place where guests come for luxury, but some never seem to leave. The Omni Parker House is no ordinary hotel. Sitting right in the heart of Boston, it's famous for its luxury, its history, and its ghosts. The hotel first opened its doors in 1855, and over the years, it's hosted presidents, literary giants like Charles Dickens, and even Hollywood stars. But along with its prestige came whispers of shadows in the hallways, voices in empty rooms, and the lingering presence of those who checked in, but never checked out. One of the most infamous legends tied to this hotel involves Harvey Parker, the original owner himself. Parker was known to be a perfectionist, a man who wanted to make sure every guest was treated like royalty. He died in 1884, but staff and guests claim his spirit never truly left. People staying on the 10th floor often report seeing a tall man in a dark coat wandering the hallways late at night. Sometimes he knocks on doors, as if checking in on guests, but when the door is opened, no one is there. Others claim to wake up in the middle of the night to see a man standing at the foot of their bed, watching them silently, before fading away into the shadows. For decades, stories of Harvey Parker's ghost have been whispered by staff members who know the building too well. Some believe he's still inspecting his hotel, making sure everything is running just as he left it. But Harvey isn't the only spirit said to roam these halls. But the ghost of Harvey Parker is only the beginning. Guests and staff at the Omni Parker House have reported countless strange encounters over the years. Encounters that suggest this hotel is more than just a place to sleep. One of the eeriest stories comes from the 3rd floor. This floor is notorious for its strange activity, especially in room 303. For decades, guests who stayed in this room complained of sudden chills, objects moving on their own, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. Some even claimed to hear heavy breathing in the darkness when no one else was in the room. According to local legends, room 303 was once occupied by a long-term guest in the 1940s, a man with a dark past. He was said to be an alcoholic who spent his nights drinking heavily in that very room, chain-smoking cigars, and spiraling deeper into despair. Eventually, he died there under mysterious circumstances. Ever since, the smell of cigar smoke has been reported drifting through the room.
Experience the passion of Tchaikovsky and Shostakovich with the San Francisco Symphony, October 24th through 26th. Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto has become one of the most beloved works in the repertoire, radiant and unforgettably alive. Shostakovich's Symphony No. 8 confronts us with raw power and haunting beauty. Together, these works form a concert of passion, struggle, and triumph. David Afgham conducts Tchaikovsky and Shostakovich with the San Francisco Symphony, October 24th to 26th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
Even when it's been vacant for weeks, the room became so infamous, so unnerving to guests, that the hotel eventually stopped renting it out altogether. Instead, it was converted into a storage space. But even then, staff reported hearing knocks from the inside, as though someone were still trying to get out. And then there's the elevators. Guests have often reported that the elevators will suddenly stop on the third floor. Even when no button has been pressed, the doors will open to an empty hallway, silent, waiting, before closing again and moving on. Some of the hotel's most famous visitors also experienced unexplained events. Writers like Charles Dickens and Nathaniel Hawthorne both stayed here, and staff members claim that echoes of their voices have been heard in the old dining halls late at night, as if fragments of their conversations were imprinted into the very walls of the building. The Parker House isn't just a hotel. It's a place soaked in layers of history, and with history often comes the unexplainable. Perhaps the most unsettling accounts don't come from guests, but from the hotel staff themselves. One night, a housekeeper was cleaning one of the upper floors long after midnight. She finished making the bed, set her supplies aside, and turned to leave the room, only to find a tall man standing in the doorway. He wore an old-fashioned black coat, a style not seen in decades. She froze, her heart racing. The man simply stared at her, silent and unmoving. And then, before she could even scream, he vanished. When she described what she saw, another employee showed her an old portrait of Harvey Parker, the hotel's founder. Without hesitation, she said, "That's him." But Parker isn't the only spirit said to linger. Guests on multiple occasions have reported waking up to find a woman standing at the foot of their bed, a woman dressed in Victorian clothing. She never speaks, never moves, just watches in silence before fading away. Some believe she is one of the many guests who died while staying at the hotel, her soul forever tied to the walls of the Parker House. And then there are the whispers. Countless guests have reported hearing faint voices in the hallways at night, conversations that seem to come from nowhere. Staff will investigate, only to find empty corridors stretching in both directions. Even today, visitors check in expecting a luxury stay, but many leave with stories they'll never forget. The Omni Parker House is still one of Boston's finest hotels, but it carries with it a chilling reputation, a place where history and the paranormal walk side by side. And that was the story of the Omni Parker House, a hotel where the past refuses to stay buried. If you ever find yourself in Boston and check in for the night, remember, you might not be the only one staying in your room. This is the Black Hour. If you enjoy mysterious, spine-chilling stories of haunted places and dark secrets, make sure to follow the Black Hour on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and don't look too closely into the dark.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.